Hey, sorry guys, welcome to part 2 of my friend's stupid hair video. This is the final look, so we have just cut it. So this is how the color looks dry. It is a couple of days later, so she's washed it a couple of times, and the dye's already faded quite a bit, so we won't be buying that brand again. And she decided to take to it herself with some scissors and kind of royally fucked it up.
Yeah.
So I've just gone through and thinned it a bit and fixed it. So this was the final look of the hair dyeing that we were doing. She's already decided that she wants to change it again. So part 3 coming soon. Give us a thumbs up. Hi everyone, Cyanide's voice here. As you can see, the final result is quite lovely. I've just done a small excerpt in this video of how I went through dyeing the human hair extensions. Basically, we left them all tied together on the weft, but took out one of the links so that I could kind of get in them a little bit more. Shut up, Fern. Shut up, Fern! So basically all I'm doing to dye these is I'm taking sections from the side and coating them with dye, and I'm also making sure that I get between all the tapes so that the tapes are going to be dyed a similar color as well, because the tapes are quite light and they're going to show up in her hair a lot more. Just going through their extensions. I'm still using the same bottle of dye that we used on her hair because her hair is quite thin and only needed about half the bottle that we mixed up. So as soon as we did that, I kind of ran to start the extensions while the dye would still be, you know, working and everything fun like that. So I'm just taking it section by section and running the dye through. And there were 5 bundles of 10 tapes a piece for 50 pieces all up, or 25 sandwiches, which I will be installing next in the video. Stop it, phone! Try and record a voiceover. And we were just watching some YouTube shit while I was doing this, and Jade chillin'. You can see her hands in the background there. She's taking the links off and just kind of playing with the hair before we mess with it too much. And we just picked up this hair today. Normally when I dye hair extensions, I prefer to do a kind of strip on them first, because when you buy human hair extensions, they've been through so much processing to keep them tangle-free. They're always chemically straightened, and they've already been dyed as well, because obviously they're not finding that much donor hair that is the exact same shade. So whenever you buy human hair extensions, unless they're virgin, they're going to be treated so much that dye, you never know what you're going to get when you dye them, basically. Bleaching is usually fairly effective, but when you dye human hair extensions that you've purchased that are not virgin, it can be a little difficult for the dye to take sometimes. So normally I would do a deep cleanse like I do with my dreads a couple times a year. Just mix up a big bowl that has, you know, apple cider vinegar, baking powder, baby shampoo maybe, and I just kind of get them a little bit less treated, if that makes sense, and the dye is a little more able to soak in. You kind of just break up the wee pigment a little bit. It looks like she just threw me that. Ah, dear. So yeah, dye actually did take really well to these extensions, but unfortunately after only a few washes it had come out quite a lot, and it's a permanent color. We're using a permanent color, and used the exact same on her hair, and it, you know, her hair, the dye stayed in a lot more than these extensions. So yeah. No, I'm not sure if it's the dye, I'm not sure if it's the extensions, you really just don't know. It's quite a gamble. I've always bought hair extensions from this company because their head office is quite close to me, so I can just drive and pick them up and do colour matches and stuff. And they give me a wee discount because I'm a hairdresser as well. They sometimes recommend dread people to me, which is kind of them, and I always recommend my clients to them if they can't find a donor for their human hair. But yeah, I always say to people, if you want human hair, then find a donor if you can, yo. Okay, so now I'm doing the install. We left that dye in for probably an hour, rinsed it out, dried them mostly, but they were still slightly damp. It's okay to install when they're slightly damp because they'll dry with the client's hair, and it's not like the glue gets wet because the tapes are under it. So Ivy is going ahead and taking off the bits of tape for me, so when I'm ready I'll just grab them from her, and it's a lot faster if your client wants to help you out with the peeling process. Especially if you're adding more tape. This is the first time we've used these extensions, so it's, you know, the first tape that's already on them. So she's just peeling the tapes off while I install. So when you're doing a tape installation, of course it depends how many pieces you have. Since we are going to have 25 pieces all up with them sandwiched together, I'm taking quite small sections and piling them almost directly on top of each other with just small layers of hair in between. So as you can see, that's the first couple in. Tape extensions, if you don't know how they work, they're basically wefted with a bit of double-sided tape. And you take a very small section of hair that has about 10 to 20 hairs in it, and you sandwich 2 of them over that hair right at the root. So there are 2 pieces in each section that's been done, just sandwiched over a very small section of hair. So for her, I think we did maybe 4 rows. I can normally fit 6 across on her head, depending on where on the head it is. You know, between the ears and whatnot, it's easier up above. So I get about 4 to 6 per row with Ivy. Everyone's head is different. Everyone's head is a different shape, and that's okay. So just work with your client. It's also really important to leave a line down the center of the scalp. So that's how I judge it. First, I'll just draw a line with a comb or a clip or my finger from the center of their scalp, and make sure you don't have tapes lying across that, because then the client can still do pigtails or buns, and they just have a lot more options for styling if they want to split their hair down the middle for any hairstyles. So I'd say it's pretty important, you know, rather than doing dreadlocks or something where you always do brickwork, you know, like imagine a brick wall, and that's how I make dreadlocks, so it looks a little bit more natural and you've got more root coverage. When you're doing extension install, it's really important to leave a line down the center so the tapes basically just all sit on top of each other. See, the hair color looks so nice here. I'm sad at how quick it faded because it actually looked really nice. But she changed her mind pretty quick because her hair on top was darker than the extensions. I thought it looked pretty nice, like an ombre, but she wasn't super into it, so it's all been changed now. Part 3, we completely change her hair again. And she washes my dishes because I've now spent like 10 hours on her hair in 1 week. And she took out my rubbish for me. She's a good egg. So yeah, it's basically the same as I do for my dyeing and whatnot, the same sort of sectioning. And then you just take a really thin layer of hair, just, you know, a couple hairs wide, and sandwich 2 extensions at the root there. So it's a bit difficult to get the hang of when you've done it as many times as I have. It's pretty quick work. It only took me about 20 minutes to install the 50 pieces, along with all the sectioning and everything like that. Can't remember how much I sped this up by, maybe 400% or something like that. It's about 4 times speed. Woohoo, girl. Oh, and she cut it too, and it made me so sad. I think she looks so nice with the long hair, but the short's nice too. I just love the variation of color that we got in these extensions, but she wanted a more overall coverage look, and that's fine. It's not my head. Obviously, you can see with my hair, I like a lot of variation, but I'm, you know, an old kid, and I don't understand the normies, you know what I mean? Like, when she first said she wanted red, like red-brown hair, I thought she meant light ginger, and I didn't question it, because I don't know about these normies, I don't know what they want, and then when I was like, oh, I thought you meant ginger, when she showed me a photo, she was like, what the hell, why would I have ginger hair? And I was like, I don't know about you bloody normies. Yeah, also when you're doing a tape installation, it's important to keep each section in 2 sections, if that makes sense, just to keep that line down the middle. So you make sure you're not kind of crossing over, and then your client's going to have a really hard time doing a lot of hairstyles. Hey, we're done! Check it out! So see, that colors look really nice. I thought so anyway. Ooh, girl, yeah. Loving it. Alright, so this is the 4 or 5 days later when she just cut them straight across. And then she called me. She's like, Sai, help me, I fucked up. And I said, why the hell did you cut it? You're not a hairdresser. So she basically just cut it all straight across, and now I'm going to go through and thin out the ends a little bit. I'm not going to be taking much off the length at all. I'm just going to be thinning it out so it looks a bit wispier and more natural at the ends, because with 50 pieces of extensions, it's really thick, and it looked really dumb when she did it. So first I just sprayed it down with some water from my little spray thing, and now I'm cutting it across to make it all the same length, because it was really weird when she did it. And then I'm going through with the scissors and just thinning. So I'm just using those scissors to thin out the sections. I'm not taking any off the length. I'm just basically thinning out the last inch or so of the hair so that it does look more natural and whatnot. Oh god, I've still got 2 minutes. So yeah, I didn't have to section or anything like that for this because I'm just working on the ends. So I'm just taking section by section, and then when I've completed that section, I'm just throwing it forward over her shoulder so that I know that bit's done. It wasn't super effective because the hair is quite short now and didn't all stay over her shoulder. Yeah, also when you're cutting hair, thinning hair, whatever, it's really important to have it wet unless the client's hair is super dead straight, because, you know, different curls and bounces and whatnot are going to change the length. So when the hair is wet or dead straight is really the only time you can get what you want, if that makes sense at all, especially with these human hair extensions which are chemically straightened. When you hold them tight and then cut them, they like spring out into a weird flick or a curl sometimes. So having them wet is really important. I'm just telling her about my plaque. A friend of mine made that for me for Christmas, and there's a cute little note on the back. I wanted to have the plus follow cyanide B in this video, but it didn't super work out. Because whenever I do her hair on my bed, we always migrate. Like, we keep kind of moving backward or moving forward as we're both kind of adjusting to be comfortable. And that's why I have to keep adjusting where the camera's pointing. You see that little flick that just happened? So that's all the hair we've cut out so far. Oh yeah, where I'm putting the hair, I just have like a bucket next to me. And when I cut out a small section of hair, I'm still holding it and I just chuck it in the bucket. And, you know, I can use it to make dreadlocks, I can use it for whatever later if I want to. But it's pretty good quality human hair. Alright, part 3 coming up next where we change our hair again. It's coming soon! I hope you enjoyed this stupid video. Don't forget to leave me a comment because I thrive on the validation of strangers. Yeah! See you guys, bye!